Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Our Sinclair. It's the show where two wacky Americans take a look at various games on the beloved ZX Spectrum from the UK and around the world. And this week, the Brent,
Yes.
a very exciting week, because we're going to be looking at a very popular game called Bear Bovver. Now, for the past month, I've referred to this game as Bear Bovver.
That's right. And
Because-
I will continue to do it.
Now, I may change the two, but it occurred to me, and also people told me I was wrong and dumb,
Yeah.
because Bear Bovver makes no sense. But in my mind, Bear Bovver is sort of like bend over,
Oh,
which is not good either.
See, I was thinking something completely different.
Yeah.
Bear Bovver, send Rover right
Yeah,
over.
well, there you go. But
I was thinking of some kind of Red Rover thing.
I was told by multiple people that Bover is sort of like saying bother. And once that was said to me, I was like, oh, I get it.
Oh,
Bother. So it's sort of like Bear Bother, which is a better name, but Bear Bovver is more, I don't know, slangy for whatever this is. And we'll get into whatever this is in a moment, because that in itself is quite a tale. But before we get into it, the Brent,
Yes.
I want to talk about games like this that take animals and basically turn them into people and turn them loose. We've played a few of these over the years.
Yeah.
Animal-based games, I
Well,
guess, sort of.
animal mascots, a tried and true mascot theming. Yeah.
Which you don't have to limit yourself to the spectrum, because there's no way I could do it. But what games where you played an animal are amongst your favorites?
I would have to say probably Star Fox.
Oh man, that's not amongst my favorite because of the chatter. What was that guy's name? Slippy, that little geek?
Slippy the Frog.
And one of those guys is a jerk. I can't remember which one.
Falcon.
Yeah,
Falco.
What's his problem?
Well, he's
I don't know,
sour like you.
I can handle one. You're like the jerk one. I can handle one animal, but I don't know, 4 or 5 that are talking to each other and animal
Well,
talk.
it'd be kind of crazy if Star Fox leads the game and then everyone else is human. That would be wrong, Aaron.
Why?
That'd be incredibly wrong.
Why?
No.
Have you ever seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? There are 4 turtles in a world of humans. Everybody's cool with that.
Yeah, but there's as many mutated animals in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as there are people.
Well, but there's both, is my point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can you name any other games with humanoid bears? I know one.
Well, Yogis, all the Yogis.
No, Crystal Castles.
Oh, okay.
With Bentley Bear.
Yeah.
I think there could be some trademark issues here.
I don't.
But I don't know which came first.
Yeah, you're right. There probably could be some trademark issues, but not over that.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. I'm not sure if this came out. I think this came out in '83. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Crystal Castles probably came out after this, I'd guess.
I'll look it up while
Brent's
you
looking it up.
chatter.
So I know which one of those games. It's funny. I don't know. I come to think of it, I'm not sure which game I like more. Now that I think about it, you get a lot of mammals that play the head character.
Sure.
Can you think of any games where you play a non-mammal animal? I can think of a couple.
Well, and for the record, in 1983, they both came out the same year.
So you could tell there was some inter-video game espionage going on.
Somehow I doubt it. Echo the Dolphin.
Dolphins are mammals, idiot. Try again.
Oh, I thought we were just naming other characters.
No. I said non-mammals.
Oh, non-mammals.
Yeah.
Boy, that's
Soup in the chat jumped all over the first one I thought it was, which was Gex. Gex. Remember Gex, the gecko?
Yeah.
You can't think of a single one, can you?
Well, neither could you.
I said Gex. I knew that. He stole my idea.
Red chat. You read
What else
chat.
you got?
Man.
This is like a brain teaser for the fans.
I'll have to say, there's not. I mean, obviously, mammals are going to make up the majority of gaming mascots, just like any other kind of mascot.
Well, if you think about it, you could name any lizard.
Yeah.
Any game that had a lizard in it,
Yeah.
that would be one. We know Gex. What other games had little snakes or lizards? Snake, that's another one. Hey, I can't help it. I'm 2 for 2. Any dinosaurs? Those
James
aren't mammals.
Pond.
Yeah, James Pond, any fish game, except, of course, dolphins aren't fish.
What?
Yeah.
Well
Just
done.
want to reiterate your idiocy.
Earthworm Jim. That's
You're
a good
reading
one
the
by
chat. You're reading the chat, you cheater. So, that's all we got. Oh.
Man, this might be the worst pre-game segment I've ever heard.
Listen.
You can tell you pulled this one out of your buck
Let me tell
as the intro was rolling.
Let me tell you something. When you know the plot of this game, you try the pre-game discussion. You show me. What's your view on electric trucks, Brent?
Well, I mean, I can talk a lot more than that. Insects. Anyway, let's get into it, Aaron. Main feature time. This is a very unique game for its plot summary. I know you were wanting to read the plot out verbatim from the cover.
Oh yes, because you got to. So, but let's get into the boring details before we get into the plot. But I want to get into this plot. So, again, this is Bear Bovver. This game was released on a few systems, including the C64 and, of course, the ZX Spectrum here.
Yep.
So this is also known, by the way, in some countries as El Oso Boba.
Sure, why not?
I don't know what that means. This was published by Arctic Computing Limited, who did a lot of stuff.
Yes.
I'm just looking down the list of stuff I've heard of. Nothing. I've never heard of a single one of these games. But some of my favorites amongst them are Humpty Dumpty in the Garden. Humpty Dumpty meets the Fuzzy Wuzzies. Those are two great ones right there. Web War, Mutant Monty, Voodoo Rage. I want to cover that bad. Voodoo Rage. And Aladdin's Castle. So they did a lot of stuff. This was released in '83 and it was programmed and the majority of the work was done by a fellow named John Rittman.
Yeah.
This guy's done a few things
Yes.
over the years to Brent that we actually have covered, including Match Day, Batman, Head Over Heels. We've covered that one a couple times. Super Match Soccer and Monster Max, and that was on the Game Boy. So he escaped the ZX era and moved on to the Game Boy. Did a little work on the MSX. Of course, Head Over Heels is probably the standout title. And that's a heck of a title right there. If you're going to stand up on one, we've covered that one a couple times. But Match Day also has its fans.
What's impressive about his resume is he did not just do side scrollers or one screens. He did isometric. He did vector stuff.
Yeah.
He did a large variety of game types.
Yeah.
What developers kind of fall into a groove.
Yeah.
They find out what they're good at, and they just keep doing it over and over. I'll give this guy huge props for going outside of what I'm sure was his comfort zone for some of this stuff.
And I'm looking over the different systems he worked on. He started off on the ZX81, moved to the Spectrum, the Amstrad CPC. He had a game on the Atari 8-bit. He had a game on C64. He did the Amiga version of Head Over Heels, the Atari ST version of that, and then did Monster Mash on Game Boy, and ended up in '98 doing a game on Windows. And we've also been alerted that he also did a game on PlayStation. So that's good, diverse action.
Huge resume.
The music for this was done by the very manly named Guy Stevens, who worked on a few games here, including Match Day 1 and 2, Head Over Heels, and Superhero, all on the ZX Spectrum. So, let's talk about Bear Bovver, Brent. So, I'm going to read the box, or the tape case, if you will, because this game bears some explanation, no pun intended. All right. So according to the tape case, Bear Bovver features the most amazing, multicolored, cartoon quality graphics with animation and explosive effects as you've never seen before. Plus, those bad Bovver bears, along with a mysterious special guest. So there you go. Now, let's get into the meat of the game. Wasn't Ted pleased with his brand new Sinclair electric truck? Clearly Ted had not looked deeply into the vehicular side of the Sinclair because after the C5, I'm not sure I'd be picking up the electric truck. He had already bought a set of batteries, so no sooner had the delivery man left than a very proud Ted climbed in for the first drive. All was going well until Ted noticed the truck slowing down. Oh dear, thinks Ted. These batteries don't seem to last very long. That hasn't changed. Ted takes a look around. He has ended up parked outside a building being renovated. Suddenly, he notices something glint in the sunshine at the top of the scaffolding. Is that really a battery up there? Jumping out of his car, he climbed the nearest building ladder. Thirsty work this, thinks Ted as he climbs the ladder, but then Ted realizes he has more to worry about than a dry throat. That is the exciting lead up to Bear Bovver. Brent, do you want to describe what Bear Bovver is, the actual game?
Bear Bovver is basically burger time. For some reason, to get the batteries to go down to the next floor, you have to run. You have to stomp on them. I guess you're kicking them down slowly.
Have you ever lifted these batteries? They do weigh a ton.
Well,
trust me.
I will have to say, the batteries take up the entire truck bed of Ted's truck. And it
sort of makes having a truck worthless if you have to carry the battery in the back like that, doesn't it?
Also, a full, huge truck bed-size battery only moves you about 4 inches.
Yes, he wasn't kidding about that.
Yeah, this is an interesting take on Burger Time. It's got all of your Burger Time trappings where if you knock down the battery while there's enemies on the battery, they'll be defeated. They don't actually go down with the battery, but they will be defeated. If you drop a battery on baddies below, they'll get defeated. And the goal of this is to get the batteries down to your truck bed. And when you get one in the truck bed, you physically get back. You have to maneuver to get back in the truck.
Yes.
Move several inches till you're underneath another battery, and then go and do it all again. I don't know if you did this, Aaron, but if you knock a battery down in front of you,
yeah, you're boned.
You will get, and then you load up your truck with a battery. You'll run into the other battery and die.
Yes, because it explodes. Presumably, you can't do that to batteries. I guess maybe in retrospect, this is a Sinclair truck. Now that I see it in action. What did you think of the... I mean, where do you begin? Look at this thing. What did you think of this when you booted it up? I mean, looking at what you're dealing with here, this is one weird game.
The graphics on this are really not impressive at first glance. Because you...
That's true.
You just have a black background with blue ladders and yellow platforms. And not a whole lot of color to go around. The enemies that you're up against look exactly like you, except their fashion sense is slightly different. They have different color shirts and pants. And for some reason, there's like a lizard.
Yeah.
That's also there.
That's the special secret mystery guest. It's a lizard.
And if you get far enough into the game, there's actually another enemy that joins the crew after like 7 stages or so.
I did not get that far.
I did not either. I watched it. What you will notice about this game, though, is there are a lot of enemies. And they are decent-sized sprites. I'll 100% give them credit for that. All of them have a walk animation.
It's more of a prance. It reminds me of when I used to be in the band, and the flag girls were at a parade, and they kind of did that thing, that high stepping. Like, this guy's getting ready to score a touchdown.
They're definitely walking with confidence.
They are. And their arms are waving like this. It look like the bushwhackers came to town.
You don't use salt or pepper like in the Burger Time that this is based off of. But what you do have is large stacks of TNT that you put down on a very short timer to blow up the people who are after you. This actually, and you can blow yourself up.
Oh, I know.
So you can't just lay the dynamite down and then hang around. You've got to keep moving. And when you get, each board has 3 to 4 batteries. Once you completely get all the batteries on one stage, you drive off the left-hand side of the screen, and you're at a new set of layers, new buildings, to get more batteries to continue your trek. Now, one thing I didn't realize as playing the game, you are actually stealing these batteries.
Well, I mean, I don't. Maybe everyone is stealing them. You know what I'm saying? We don't know who owns the batteries. It's not your guy, clearly from reading the docs. He just saw them on a building site.
Right. So he's stealing the batteries and causing active terrorism by blowing up anyone that gets in his path.
You know, we get a lot of that. Let's take a side break for a minute.
All right.
Here in West Virginia, there's a lot of looting of construction sites.
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
Like
big copper. Big spools of copper, or even the equipment itself is taken. I mean, they've taken bulldozers and that sort of thing. So it's not at all unusual for us to see a scene where a guy is stealing from a construction site, and especially stealing big, because I know for a fact, remember they steal like carburetors and stuff. Why not the battery?
That said, we are not condoning it.
I never said I condoned it, but I'm just saying you're right. These are definitely not his batteries. So you're definitely in the wrong. We don't know for sure if the other bears and the lizard are in the right, and I don't know what's going on with that, but you're definitely the one that's doing the damage.
When you defeat an enemy, they only stay defeated for 5 or 6 seconds. During that time, though, you reduce the lag of the game.
That's true.
So you can move much quicker.
You feel like you get turbo for a second.
From a gameplay perspective, the movement of the enemies are exactly like Burger Time. They have the exact same AI stance. If you are above an enemy, he will try to climb up to get you. If you are to the left or right of the enemy, he will come right towards you. It's like all the enemies were hot dogs from Burger Time. Now, I actually really appreciate that, because the mechanics behind Burger Time, the enemy AI behind it, is so fun once you know what you're doing. You can gather enemies up and get them all together and crush them or blow them up for a lot of score. What I don't appreciate is when the enemies come back, they come back in an instant.
Yeah, they do. Too quick.
They have no flash or invincibility frames for you or them, so they can literally appear right on top of you. They don't walk from the sides of the screen or come up from the bottom or anything like that. They just simply reappear in the spot that they're in.
Yeah.
And if you just
that makes it a lot harder.
If you just happen to be in that spot, you will die.
Yeah.
That is by far my biggest gripe with the game. I'm just going to go out and say it right now. I actually really enjoyed this game.
I did not.
Really?
I thought this was way worse than Wimpy from a couple months ago. I liked Wimpy a lot more than this.
I enjoyed,
because this game is ugly. Number one,
it's not attractive.
Number one, your guy doesn't look like a bear. In fact, none of these guys look like bears.
Correct.
On the C64 version,
they do look
like bears.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you start this game, like, the world's most hideous noise comes out of the machine. It's playing the Teddy Bear's Picnic song at maximum volume, directed directly into your soul.
It does tend to play that, yeah.
This song is brutal. Thank God you can turn it off. Because
you turned it off?
Oh, yeah. I would have jumped into a bear cage willingly with pork chop pants on to get away from it. It was god-awful. Color clash in this, it's a color mob. You get these guys get together, and it's an unbelievable. You can't tell who's in the mob or what's going on.
There's not color clash.
There is color clash. I'm looking at it. I know what color clash is.
They just overlap on each other.
That's color clash.
No, that's not what I view color clash on the ZX to be. Color clash on the ZX is when you've got yellow in front, and it should be something else.
Let me put it in another way.
Okay.
You know it is color clash.
All right.
You have like 4 or 5 guys chasing you at the beginning.
Yeah, oh yeah. It starts you out hardcore.
When they get together, they form one
gelatinous
gelatinous blob.
Yes.
It reminds me of the old Bugs Bunny cartoons when, like, the Tasmanian Devil and Daffy Duck would get together and there'd be arms and legs shooting out of a cloud. You didn't know what was happening. That's what's coming at you. And God forbid you have a bomb in the mix, because it gets even crazier. I don't like the pace of the game, if I'm honest.
How so?
I just don't. It seems it's not what I would call. It's fast, but it's slow, but it's also too fast. It's both. It's amazingly. Everyone moves slowly, but they're also very quick to get you. I will say the plot of this game is so stupid. It's so more. I mean, we've played a lot of games on this show.
Yeah.
There may be a handful that have a more bizarre plot than a bear driving an electric car 4 inches to steal batteries from a construction site that's watched by other bears and a walking lizard.
Yeah.
All right? That's got to be near the top of the list.
That's a good one.
All right? So the plot, I mean, I'm going to give it points for originality, that's for sure. I don't like the way, this doesn't play like I like in Burger Time when you like drop the burger pieces, the guys go with the piece. They go down. They don't do that here. They just like, they die where he's in. And so it does get some of the fundamentals, like, admittedly, Wimpy did not get the fundamentals of Burger Time correct. This does a better job at getting some of the fundamentals of Burger Time correct.
It gets a lot of them.
It gets some.
Okay.
But it misses, like you said, it misses 2 big ones. It misses, number one, it misses the fact that they don't come back on the screen at the from the sides, which is huge.
Yeah,
that's
and
number
a big
2,
one.
It also doesn't get the going down with the piece element to it.
Yes.
Because also that helps you get the pieces down quicker.
Well, but you don't want the pieces to come down quicker because if they don't land in the back of your truck, then you get punished by running into them.
I've got more complaints. I'm not done yet.
All right.
Sometimes now, as stupid as this is, let's say you're watching or listening on the radio and you're thinking to yourself, how do I picture this game? Picture a Burger Time maze with ladders at the bottom, and every time you drop one battery in the back of your car, pretend that's a burger, you've got to drive your car, your truck, your Sinclair truck, electric truck, to the next ladder, okay? So what's happening while you're doing that? Are the bad guys gone? Do they run away? Heck no. They eat mass at that ladder. And you can't tell me that every time you got out of that car, they would just let you pass. None shall pass. The amorphous blob is ever present waiting for you.
I agree, but as long as you stay in your truck, you are invincible. So while they do gather around you, and there are times when they will get into a perfect loop that you can't get out of your vehicle. It only happened to be once, but I did find it does happen. For the most part, your car is your little safe spot, and you can go in there and hide while they are shuffling around the screen. Some levels are worse than others for getting trapped, but it's not that bad, in my opinion.
What about the dead end area? Like we're looking at right now. That's something else that I don't think I ever saw in Burger Time. A place where you literally can't go through.
I'm actually okay with that. I think it adds I think it adds a unique gameplay element. It's not overused. They do it in a couple of levels. I'm okay with it.
Okay, I'm not. But let's talk about the time bomb.
Yeah.
Now, your bear driving the electric Sinclair truck to come to steal batteries from the other bears on the lizard at the construction site happened to carry multiple time bombs.
Yes.
And he also picks other time bombs up, or
occasionally.
I assume, here's what I think. So, you ever seen the A-Team? Remember that?
Yeah.
You know how you would go to like a garage or something, and they would make weapons? I just assume that Ted is finding crap at the site, and he's making he's making incendiary devices to kill the other people so he can steal their batteries. What about that versus the pepper? Keeping in mind that in the old game, you could pepper a sucker on the bun, run over it, it would drop a couple levels. There was a real help. What about that?
The time bomb is a double-edged sword.
No, it's a bomb. A double-edged sword is a sword.
If it wasn't for the respawn mechanic, and if the enemies stayed dead for twice as long as they do in the game, I don't think it's better than the pepper, but I think it's an interesting twist that makes the game enjoyable. My biggest problem is, in this game, you really don't want to kill the enemies because of the respawn problem. Whenever you have them grouped up, and it's fun to kill them, right? when you're killing 4 or 5 at the same time. It's fun to do that, but the problem with that is to get that to happen, you have to loop them and get them grouped up, and that's the best way for them to be. So when you kill them, they all go back to their starting locations, which are at the corners of the boards, basically, and it makes progress past that incredibly frustrating. I'll have to say, Aaron, I'm surprised. I like this obviously more than you did.
Yes.
Now, obviously, this is not as good as Burger Time. Let's not be stupid.
Correct.
But I think with a few tweaks, with a few minor adjustments, this could be a really fun game. I don't think them riding down on the battery is a big deal because, like I said, if you drop a battery in front of your truck, that's bad. I like the gameplay elements that you have to go from right to left to collect the batteries so your truck has a clear path to go through. I think that's an interesting mechanic. I think either the game shouldn't be named after bears or the enemies or yourself need to look more like a bear. The liquids that you pick up don't always give you bombs. Only the highest point drink gives you any kind of
what is
upgrade.
that too? You're picking up like wine and milk.
Well, you've got milk, you've got
like
tea,
beer in there.
You've got beer, and then you've got some cocktails. I don't have a problem with that.
This is a game called Bear Bovver.
Yeah.
With a baby mode. We should talk about that here in a second.
Yeah.
Why is there booze in it?
I don't have any problem with that. That's
because
the most...
I like to feed my baby booze all the time. Totally fine.
Well, come on, give me a break.
I'm just saying. That's a weird mixed message.
Well, the whole game is a weird mixed message, Aaron.
Now,
let's save the planet by using batteries to move 4 inches.
Well, I mean, listen. So let's talk about the mystery mode, which is the baby mode in this. I actually picked this first because I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like easy. It's easy, all right.
Yeah.
You can't be killed.
Yeah, the baby mode is makes you completely invulnerable to enemies, which is the only way to die in the game. Well, I guess can you still blow yourself up? I don't know about that.
You can't. No, I don't think you can.
Oh, so you can't die at all.
You can't. I played it and just kept playing it. That's nice if you've got a little kid that does it, because you don't want to set a kid in front of this, and I mean, they would die instantly. So having a baby mode, not bad. I played a long time in baby mode. I was great at it. It
was your speed.
Something else that I find, I find this game I'm a big fan of Top Banana. Okay.
Okay.
Now, why is that? Is it because it's a great game? Is it because the KT is a great mascot? It's all those things, and more. But one of the things it endorses is environmentally friendly game. This game has your guy using up batteries that are as big as the back of his car. Now, what do you think happens to those batteries when he exhausts them? I'll tell you what happens. He dumps them over the side. So, how long does it take this guy to get home? There's a trail of huge trunk-sized batteries laying in the road. What kind of message does that send?
I mean, the authorities are going to have no trouble tracking this guy down. Just follow the trail of used batteries.
That's true. But I mean, I didn't listen. In all honesty, this game is so stupid that I can't help but sort of love it. These guys prance around. The theme song for this shouldn't have been Teddy Bear's Picnic. It should have been Macho Man by the Village People playing, because they're just walking. Dun, dun, dun. They just look so manly and happy as they prance. Even the bad guys. They prance around. The only guy that doesn't look like that's the lizard. Yeah, he just looks like, I think he's their pet or something. That's the only thing I can figure. But it is a goofy, bizarre game. It's an early game on the ZX, so you got to give it a little bit of a pass.
It's not that early.
83? That's real early.
It's early.
So, I mean, it's so stupid that I can't help but enjoy it. But as a game, listen, I can't play with the music on. So as a game that I can turn the music on, can I have a little bit of fun with a little bit? It's not like I'm going to be diving back into it.
I had way more fun with this. One cool thing about leaving the music on is whenever
I got to hear this.
A beverage pops up, it does play a different tune.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes you not want to get the beverage. But, no.
I needed a beverage after playing this.
I really enjoyed this game.
Now, come on, wait a minute. You really enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Like you're putting it over like it's a great game?
No, I didn't say that. I said I really enjoyed it.
Listen, you're a homer is what you are.
dude, I love Burger Time, and this has just enough mechanics to play like Burger Time, with just enough different mechanics to be a new experience. That's why I like it. I like being able to hide in the car. I like being able to. Also, whenever you get surrounded, what did you do?
I got killed.
You hit the dynamite. If you're going down, you're taking everybody with you.
So you may be wondering, because I tried to do some research on this. You may be wondering what was John Rittman taking? What pharmaceutical?
I'm going to guess cocaine.
So get this. I found this blurb. After seeing Burger Time, and I believe he saw it on the Intellivision, he was like, man, that looks cool. So he thought he would do his own version. He also heard about Sinclair getting ready or talking about the release of an electric car, which is a C5. So he decided to combine the concepts to create Bear Bovver. He used, now get this, to program this game, he joined 2 Spectrums together and 3 micro drives. He developed on one Spectrum and tested the game on the other one. And this allowed the games being developed to be larger. This is what he used. This is what he used for, I guess, many of his games. I didn't know the microdrives were even around that early, so that's a real stunner to me.
That's pretty good.
Assuming they're talking about this game or not games in the future, but this was mentioned on one big blurb. It is interesting to me that he would dig this up on the Intellivision. He also said he was inspired to take on a clone of Burger Time that would rival his heroes and ultimate play the game. So, did he do that? One would wonder. Now, you're probably asking yourself, hey, how did this fare in terms of the magazines?
The rags of the time. So,
CBG gave this a 70%.
I think that's fair.
Sinclair User gave this an 80%, and that's Crash gave this a 90%.
Yeah, that's insane.
A 90%, and I believe it also, in fact, was a Crash smash.
It was. I did read it was a Crash smash.
I read the Crash article, and they put this thing over like it was the ultimate game of all times. And one thing that all the places I read talked about how incredible the graphics were. Graphics to rival any arcade game. It just showed, I mean, I used to read this a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
You got to think to yourself, in '83, if you had some graphics, you suddenly were rivaling arcade games.
Well, like I said, the sprites are big.
Yeah.
And there's lots of them. There's 4 and in later levels 5 or 6 moving sprites all at the same time. That's impressive. That's impressive for a game like this.
Yeah, we got multiple reviews of this to Brent.
I'll crack them down.
And I'm going to read these in their entirety. Right out of the gate, we've got Pajako who chimes in. He says, a game I'd heard of but not ever played before. I didn't realize it was a Burger Time inspired game. It's a tough game with some design flaws. You can work around most of the time getting insta-killed for being in the wrong place when enemies respawn, not dropping the batteries before you have to, or you will crash your car and end the game. Also, the characters are so tall, they get clipped climbing on ladders. It happens frequently. And getting off and on the ladders will give you a nervous tick. I didn't mention that. I also hated that. I had all kinds of trouble getting on.
I didn't have any problems, but I played on keyboard.
The main flaw that killed the game is the possibility to soft lock the game and be stuck on your truck while the enemies move around you in a small area, giving you no chance to escape.
Yeah, now granted, I played this quite a bit and I only had that happen once.
You can sometimes plant a bomb if you're lucky, but waiting for long periods to actually be able to play makes for a dull experience. Graphically, it's nice, but odd looking, and really there isn't so much Bear Bovver, I did it again, Bover, as freaky looking dudes Bover.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, as the C64 one has cute bears and looks more like you would expect from the title. I will say, the C64 has different music, but it's equally as offensive to me. I said that, not Pajako. Getting back to what he said, audio-wise, just turn off the music or you will go insane.
No, that's part of it.
Flaws aside, it's pretty playable and the game is an easy mode, but somewhere between big and baby mode, something between big and baby mode would have been nice. Probably good at the time, but with no nostalgia for it myself, I am not bothered by this one. 5 out of 10.
Oh.
And keep in mind, in the past month, his scoring has been incredibly lenient.
I don't know. He's starting to even out. He's starting to even out.
Jed Byrne chimes in. From 1985 to 90, John Rickman produced a legendary streak of games, including Match Day, Batman, and Head Over Heels. A couple of years early, in '83, he wrote Bear Bovver for Arctic Computing. Did this earlier game show the promise for his future genius? Way back in issue 3, Crasher rather liked it, gave it a 90%. As a general rating, the Crash Smash Award had yet to be invented. So that's weird, because I remember where I saw this said it had to get a Cash Smash. They may have just assumed since it got that score, they may have just assigned it.
Yeah.
So Jed Byrne may have clued us in there. It was too soon for Your Sinclair. Back in issue 4, it was still called Your Spectrum. To show you how early in life of the Spectrum this game was out, the reviewer Dwayne admires the great graphics, but complains about the marring of the color resolution when two colors meet. The color clash term had yet to be invented.
Wow.
That's good stuff, Jed. One of the things I enjoy from playing these early games is the many conventions of how a game should behave were yet to be established. Bear Bovver doesn't disappoint. The pace of this game is strangely serene, with everyone that's true, with everyone moving around at an unusually slow pace, while a nursery rhyme warbles along in the background. It would be perfect for small children if it wasn't so hard. Arctic realized this and added a baby bear mode to grant player invincibility. 43 years later, it's still addictive and the graphics are still great. They move with a splendid, smooth walking animation. Legs, jumpers, and heads are differently colored, yet marring of color resolution is kept to a remarkable minimum.
Yes.
Especially when walking up and down ladders. TV Gamer magazine claims it's one of the best versions of Burger Time ever.
No.
I don't know about that, but I do agree that it's certainly one for your collection, if only for the graphics. So thank you, Jed Byrne. That was very informative. And last, but certainly not least, our old buddy, Christopher Folds chimes in. Bear Bovver. I loved this game as a kid, and the music is still implanted in my head like a bad fever dream. Going back to it today for a quick 45-minute blast, I was surprised at its simplicity and how easy it is. Move a few batteries down, hide in the truck, repeat. For nostalgia, I give this an 8 out of 10. In reality, it's a 5 out of 10. So another 5 out of 10 there. Where does this go on the Brent scale?
I think a 6 or a 7 is fine.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, our scale is pretty bizarre, admittedly.
I mean, I had a lot of fun with this game. I felt like I got better as I was playing. I got frustrated. I had moments of joy from victory. I mean, what more can you ask for a game?
Well, I mean, I did not have moments of joy for victory. I can tell you that right now.
Well, there you go.
So that right there, you could get this thing pretty easy online. I found at the usual like $6-7. It's not that tough. I guess they sold probably a bunch of these.
Well, and when this was released, it was £7.
Yeah, well, that's
£7.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
On 83, that's probably top dollar.
Well, I mean, fair enough. So, with all that said, take and close the door on Bear Bovver. An interesting game. I like the plot. I like the zaniness of it. I don't even hate the gameplay, but it's a few flaws short from a picnic basket. I rate this 3/4 of a picnic basket. Not too bad.
You're an idiot.
Let's talk about our next episode of Our Sinclair. It's be coming back up on July 6th, Brent, so not too far away. Now, you're probably asking yourself what's coming up on the show. This one got me real excited. I'm not going to lie to you, Brent.
You lie to me all the time.
Well, that's true, but I'm not going to lie to you this time because on that show, we're going to be playing, this is topical because the summer's here. You're near the 4th of July, just after the 4th of July holiday here in the States. So, of course, that's when you play Nosferatu the Vampire, which is what we'll be playing. It'll be a lot of fun, though. I like vampire games. And if it's as goofy as this game was, I'm good to go on that. That'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be July 6th. which is eerily close to Boat Fest. We should talk about Boat Fest real quick because it's coming up in just about a month. It's exactly a month and a day from now.
Yep.
Please, if you're, let's say you're a British listener, or maybe you're in Europe, continental Europe, perhaps Australia, what better thing to do this summer than to quickly, without forethought, book a flight to West Virginia for July 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's Boat Fest 2025.
Also known as?
I don't know. International Computer Festival, something like that.
Oh.
But Boat Fest is what I call it because I can't remember all those words. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be an international crowd there as they all descend in the metropolis of Hurricane, West Virginia for a couple days of nonstop old school computer action. It should be a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And if you can't make it, we're going to try to stream as much as we can on the web. I got my good buddy, 48K Ram, a.k.a. Josh, coming in to help me get all the production situations, because you know me, sucking up things left and right. Something else I want to mention.
Real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
If you need to tell your employer that you need some time off work, and you don't want to tell them you're going to Boat Fest,
yeah,
you can also tell them that you're going to the International Retro Computer Expo.
That's right.
International Retro Computer Expo.
That's a pretty good fib, I think, if I'm honest, for that. Well, that sounds okay. I also want to mention, for the folks that listen to Our Sinclair, that also happen to be ZX Next owners or fans, I had the privilege, pleasure, and honor this past Friday to have a chat with Tony Warner and Stu Cambridge. You may remember Tony for his games. Well, he's got several big games, but the big games were Lure of the Temptress, Beneath a Steel Sky, and the Broken Sword series. So big games. And then Stu Cambridge, part of the Sensible software crew that produced all the Sensible games, including Sensible Golf, all the Sensible Soccer games, and of course the Cannon Fodder series. Stu worked on all those games. He worked on them all, brother. And they're bringing a new game out. It's on Kickstarter right now called Urbex Warriors. That's URBX Warriors. Stands for Urban Explorers. Is what that Urbex means. And this is a new game they've got coming out for the ZX Next and for Windows. And it'll soon also be appearing on a flurry of machines, including the Amiga. I believe they talked about making a Dreamcast version, a Switch version. So it'll be all over the place. The Kickstarter's up now. It's already been funded, the Brent. I mean, it was funded it's like 7 or 8 times what they asked. It was a ton of money.
Nice.
But there's still, you can get your box copies. You can get your various goodies.
Yeah.
And they've also got to get this. For I think it's like 1,500 pounds, something like that. You can design a level with those two legendary guys.
There you go.
They've got one more of those left as of recording. So if you're interested in checking that out, please hop over to the Amigos Retro Gaming channel on YouTube and check out my fun conversation with Tony and Stu, and go over and just type the URL for this thing's huge. It's in the description of the video, but if you just look up Urbex Warriors on Kickstarter, it'll come right up if you're interested in that. Now, one last item of business to Brent. We plugged the interview. We plugged Boat Fest. Now I got to plug ourselves. Who doesn't want to do that? Next week, we'll be back. Actually, we'll be back on Sunday, hopefully.
Yes.
And this time out, it's ARG Presents. Brent, do you remember what the category was for ARG Presents this week?
PSP.
PSP. I didn't have to look at the wheel.
Yeah, you asked me.
Do you remember who suggested PSP?
Chris Fold.
Oh, look at that. The very same Chris Fold who also sent in a review. That's double trouble. That'll be fun. So please join us on Sunday, this coming Sunday, which I believe, we're going to look at the date here. That will be Sunday the 15th for all that kind of action. Should be a lot of fun. I have not picked out the PSP game I'm going to be playing yet, but it will be forthcoming at the end of this show. Any final thoughts on this one, Brent? I think we can put this bear to bed, brother.
Nope.
All right. We'll see you next time. Please, I beg you, I beseech you, get some extra batteries for your Sinclair truck. For God's sakes, maybe a solar panel for that thing. Or maybe you should just walk. We'll see you next time. Until then, rewind tape.
And press bear.
Go!